I'm dying, Alara. The words hung in the air between us like shattered glass. I stared at my husband, the mighty Alpha King Darius, as he knelt before me in our bedchamber. His silver eyes glowing with an emotion I'd never seen before. For 7 years, this man had kept me at arm's length. 7 years of separate chambers, of formal greetings in corridors, of him leaving rooms the moment I entered them. 7 years of wondering what was so repulsive about me that even duty couldn't make him touch his own wife, and now, on this cold winter night, he knelt at my feet, trembling. What? The word escaped my lips as barely a whisper. The curse, he said, his voice breaking. It's killing me. And tonight? Tonight I don't have the strength to fight it anymore. I stepped back, my heart hammering against my ribs. What curse? Darius, what are you talking about? He looked up at me, and I saw tears, actual tears, streaming down the face of the man who'd conquered 3 kingdoms without mercy. I'm so sorry, Alara. I thought I could protect you. I thought if I stayed away, if I never touched you, never claimed you as mine. But I was wrong. And now it's too late. Too late for what? To save us both. I was 19 when they told me I would marry the Alpha King. It's a great honor, my father said, his eyes not meeting mine. The alliance will protect our pack for generations. He's a monster, my younger sister Mira whispered that night as she helped me pack. They say he's killed hundreds with his bare hands. They also say he's the strongest alpha in 5 generations, I replied, trying to sound braver than I felt. Maybe the rumors are exaggerated. They weren't. Darius Blackthorn was everything the rumors promised, tall, devastatingly handsome, with silver eyes that seemed to see through to your soul. But it was the power that radiated from him that made my wolf whimper and cower. This wasn't just an alpha. This was something more. Something ancient and terrifying. Our wedding was a grand affair. Thousands attended from all over the realm. I wore white silk and gold, my auburn hair crowned with winter roses. Darius wore black, his expression carved from stone. When the priest asked him to kiss his bride, Darius's jaw tightened. He leaned forward, and for one breathless moment, I thought he would actually do it. Instead, he whispered in my ear, "Forgive me." Then he turned and walked away, leaving me standing alone at the altar. The crowd gasped. My father's face went crimson with rage and humiliation. But I just stood there, frozen, watching my husband disappear through the cathedral doors. That night, I waited in the bridal chamber as tradition demanded. Servants had prepared rose petals and candles. I wore the sheer white nightgown my mother had embroidered for this moment. Darius never came. The first year was the hardest. I kept thinking it was something I'd done, something I could fix. I tried everything, changing my appearance, my perfume, my manner of speaking. I studied everything I could about being a good queen, thinking maybe if I proved my worth, he'd want me. Nothing worked. Darius was never cruel. He was never dismissive. He simply wasn't there. He gave me a suite of rooms in the East Wing, beautiful, spacious, lonely. He consulted me on matters of state, valued my opinions in council meetings. He was respectful, formal, and completely unreachable. Maybe he prefers men, my lady's maid suggested once. Maybe he's impotent, said another. Maybe, I said quietly, he just doesn't want me. By the 3rd year, I'd stopped crying myself to sleep. By the 5th year, I'd stopped hoping. By the 7th year, I'd built a life that didn't include dreams of my husband's touch. I threw myself into my duties as queen. I established schools for orphans, hospitals for the poor. I learned to rule in my own right, not just as Darius's shadow. The people loved me, even if my husband didn't, but there were moments, brief, strange moments, when I'd catch him watching me. I'd be walking through the gardens, and I'd feel his gaze like a physical touch. I'd turn, and there he'd be, standing at a distant window, his expression unreadable. The moment our eyes met, he'd disappear. Or I'd be in the library late at night, and I'd smell him, that intoxicating scent of pine and winter storms that made my wolf keen with longing. But when I'd look up, the doorway would be empty. It was like being haunted by a ghost who was still alive. Your Majesty? My advisor, Lord Brennan, pulled me from my thoughts. We were in the council chamber, discussing trade agreements with the southern provinces. Apologies, I said, refocusing on the papers before me. Continue. I was asking about the king's position on the tariffs, Lord Brennan said carefully. He's been absent from recent meetings. Absent. That was a polite way of putting it. Darius had been withdrawing more and more over the past few months. He'd always kept his distance from me, but lately, he'd been avoiding everyone. He missed council meetings, state dinners, even the monthly gatherings with his own pack. I'll speak with him, I said. Though I had no idea if he'd even see me. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to his chambers. My hand shook as I knocked on the heavy oak door. Darius? It's Alara. I need to speak with you about the council. Not now. His voice came from inside, rough and strained. It's important. The southern lords are, I said. Not now, Alara. The force of his shout made me step back. In 7 years, he'd never raised his voice at me. Never shown anger or frustration. He'd been nothing but coldly, perfectly polite. This was different. Are you ill? I asked through the door's silence then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. Go away. Please. The please broke something in me. I stood there for a long moment, my hand pressed against the door, wondering what was happening on the other side. Finally, I turned and walked away. 2 weeks later. Everything changed. I was in the throne room, settling a dispute between 2 merchant families, when Darius's beta, Marcus, burst through the doors. Your Majesty, he gasped, his face pale. It's the king. He's collapsed. I was running before I even realized I'd moved. Darius's chambers were in chaos. Healers rushed around, carrying herbs and potions. The air was thick with the scent of magic, dark, ancient magic that made my skin crawl, and there, on the massive bed, lay my husband. He looked like death. His skin was gray, his breathing shallow. Black veins spread across his chest like poison, pulsing with an unnatural darkness. What's wrong with him? I demanded, grabbing the nearest healer. We don't know, Your Majesty, the old woman said, her eyes filled with fear. It's like a curse, but unlike any we've ever seen. It's eating him from the inside. How long has this been happening? The healers exchanged glances. Finally, one spoke. Years, Your Majesty. He's been fighting it for years. The room spun. What? He's kept it hidden, Marcus said quietly, appearing at my side. Treated it in secret. But it's gotten worse. Much worse. The healers say. He swallowed hard. They say he has days. Maybe hours. I stared at Darius's unconscious form, my mind reeling. A curse. For years. Why didn't he tell anyone? I whispered. Because, came a weak voice from the bed, I thought I could beat it. Darius's eyes fluttered open, those silver depths now clouded with pain. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in 7 years. Alara, he breathed. Everyone out, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. Now. The healers protested, but one look from me sent them scurrying. Marcus hesitated, but Darius gave him a small nod, and he too left, closing the door behind him. We were alone. I approached the bed slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal. Up close, I could see how much the curse had ravaged him. He'd lost weight. The strong, powerful alpha I'd married looked fragile, breakable. Talk, I said. Now. No more secrets. Darius struggled to sit up, and instinctively, I reached out to help him. The moment my hand touched his arm, he gasped. Don't, he said, but he didn't pull away. His eyes closed, and an expression of both agony and relief crossed his face. Gods, Alara, don't touch me. Why not? I demanded, but I didn't remove my hand. Tell me what's happening. Tell me about this curse. He opened his eyes, and the raw emotion there stole my breath. It was my father's doing, he said quietly. A punishment for defying him. Defying him how? By refusing to be the monster he wanted me to be. Darius's laugh was bitter. My father believed alphas should rule through fear and violence. When I challenged him, when I tried to bring peace instead of war, he cursed me. What kind of curse? The kind that makes you choose between power and love. He looked at me, his gaze intense. The curse feeds on emotional bonds. The stronger the connection, the faster it kills. My father thought it would force me to stay alone, to remain the cold, heartless king he'd tried to create. My mind was racing, connecting pieces I'd never understood. That's why you've stayed away from me. Why you've never touched you. Never claimed you. Never let myself love you. His voice broke on the last word. Because if I did, the curse would consume me. And you? Me? I whispered. The curse doesn't just kill me, Alara. It kills anyone I bond with. Anyone I let into my heart. I thought if I kept you at a distance, if I never consummated our marriage, never let the mate bond form fully. He closed his eyes. I thought I could protect you. Tears streamed down my face. 7 years. 7 years of distance, of loneliness, of thinking I wasn't wanted. You should have told me, I said. Would you have stayed? Would you have accepted a marriage that could never be real? I would have tried to help you. We could have found a way to break it together. There is no way to break it. Darius's voice was final. Believe me, I've searched. I've consulted every witch, every healer, every ancient text in the kingdom. The curse is unbreakable. My father made sure of that. Then why tell me now? His eyes met mine, and the desperation in them made my heart clench. Because I'm dying anyway. And I can't. I can't die without you knowing the truth. Without you knowing that every moment of distance was torture. That I've wanted you every single day for 7 years. Darius, I'm so sorry. Alara. Sorry for the wedding night, for every cold word. For every time I walked away when all I wanted was to hold you. I'm sorry for making you think you weren't wanted when you were all I wanted. I'm sorry for, I kissed him. I didn't think about the curse or the consequences. I just leaned forward and pressed my lips to his, cutting off his apologies. For a heartbeat, he froze. Then he made a sound, half groan, half sob, and kissed me back with 7 years of suppressed longing. His hand came up to cup my face, trembling. The kiss deepened, desperate and hungry. I tasted salt, his tears or mine, I couldn't tell. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Alara, he whispered, his thumb stroking my cheek like I was something precious. What have you done? What I should have done 7 years ago, I said firmly. I'm not letting you die alone, Darius. If this curse wants to kill you, it'll have to go through me too. No. His hand tightened on my face. No, I won't let it take you. You don't have a choice anymore. I placed my hand over his heart, feeling it beat erratically beneath my palm. I'm your wife. Your mate. And I'm not going anywhere. You stubborn, foolish woman, he said, but there was something like awe in his voice. Don't you understand? If you stay, if we complete the bond, the curse will kill you too. Then we die together. I climbed onto the bed beside him, wrapping my arms around him. His body was burning with fever, those black veins spreading further across his skin. I'm done being apart from you. Alara, 7 years, Darius. You've had 7 years of making decisions for both of us. This time, I'm choosing. And I choose you. He stared at me for a long moment. Then, with a shuddering breath, he pulled me closer. I don't deserve you. Probably not, I agreed, resting my head against his chest. But you're stuck with me anyway. We lay there in silence, holding each other for the first time. I felt his heart beating against my ear, each beat precious and numbered. Tell me about the curse, I said quietly. Everything. And he did. The curse was cast on my 18th birthday, Darius said, his fingers absently stroking my hair. Even now, dying, he seemed afraid to stop touching me, as if I might disappear. The night before I was supposed to challenge my father for the throne. Your father cursed his own son? My father was a monster, Alara. The things he did. The wars he started, the innocents he killed. I couldn't let it continue. His voice was heavy with old pain. I gathered allies, planned to overthrow him. But he found out. What happened? He came to my chambers that night with his personal witch. I can still remember her face, ancient, twisted with dark magic. My father gave me a choice, abandon my rebellion and accept his ways, or face the consequences. You refused. I refused. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. He was furious. Said if I wanted to be a weak, emotional fool, then I'd suffer for it. The witch cast the curse right there. I felt it sink into my bones like ice. I held him tighter, wishing I could somehow draw the curse out of him. At first, I didn't understand what it was doing to me, he continued. I felt fine. Stronger, even. I challenged my father the next day and won. Became king at 18. His expression darkened. Then people started dying. My breath caught. Who? My best friend, Adrian. We'd known each other since childhood. He was like a brother to me. Darius's voice cracked. 3 months after I became king, he collapsed during training. Dead within days. The healers couldn't explain it. The curse, I whispered. I didn't know then. Next was my cousin Elena. She'd helped me plan the rebellion. Dead within a year. Then my mentor, my old nursemaid, anyone I was close to. He closed his eyes. It took me 2 years to figure out the pattern. Anyone I cared about, anyone I loved, died. Horror washed over me. How many? 17 people, Alara. 17 people dead because I cared about them. His voice was hollow. By the time I understood what was happening, I'd already lost everyone who mattered to me. Except Marcus, he was away on a diplomatic mission during those years, and by the time he returned, I'd learned to keep everyone at a distance. That's why you're so isolated. Why you have no friends, no confidants, I can't afford them. Every connection is a death sentence. He looked at me, his silver eyes burning with intensity. Do you understand now? When they told me I had to marry for an alliance, I tried to refuse. But the council insisted, and I thought if I never consummated the marriage, if I never let myself love you, you'd be safe. You've been protecting me. Trying to. His laugh was bitter. But the curse is clever, Alara. It doesn't just feed on expressed love. It feeds on the potential for it. Every day I stayed away from you, every night I denied myself the mate bond, it was eating me alive anyway. Because I wanted you. Gods, how I wanted you. My heart ached at the pain in his voice. All those times I caught you watching me, I couldn't help it. You were so beautiful, so kind, so perfect. And completely forbidden. He cupped my face, his thumb tracing my cheekbone. Do you know how many times I almost broke? How many nights I stood outside your door, fighting with myself. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you warn me? Because I'm a coward, he said simply. I was afraid if you knew the truth, you'd try to help. Try to fight it. And I couldn't risk the curse spreading to you. He pressed his forehead to mine. I thought I could beat it. Thought if I was strong enough, disciplined enough, I could keep you safe and find a cure. But I failed. How long have you been this sick? The symptoms started about 6 months ago. Black veins, fever, pain. I hid it as long as I could. But it's accelerating now. He pulled back to look at me, and I could see the truth in his eyes. I have days, Alara. Maybe less. No. I shook my head fiercely. There has to be a way. Magic can be broken, not this magic. The witch who cast it was one of the last shadow weavers, ancient practitioners of blood magic. She's long dead, and her secrets died with her. Darius's expression was resigned. I've accepted it. I wanted you to know the truth before the end. Wanted you to know it was never about you not being enough. You were always too much. Too perfect. Too dangerous to my carefully constructed walls. Tears streamed down my face. I wasted 7 years hating you. I wasted 7 years not loving you properly. He wiped my tears away with gentle fingers. I'm sorry, my queen. I'm so sorry. I kissed him again, pouring all my grief and love and desperation into it. He responded with equal fervor, as if trying to make up for 7 years in a single kiss. When we broke apart, I said, I'm not giving up on you, Darius. There has to be something we haven't tried. Alara, no. Listen to me. I sat up, facing him with determination. You've spent 7 years protecting me. Let me protect you now. Let me fight for us. He looked at me with such tender sadness it broke my heart. You can't fight a curse that's already won. Watch me. I spent the next 2 days barely sleeping, tearing through every book in the Royal Library, ancient texts on blood magic, forbidden grimoires, obscure medical journals. I read everything I could find about curses and their breaking. My eyes burned, my back ached, but I couldn't stop. Darius grew weaker by the hour. The black veins had spread to his neck and face. The healers gave him potions for the pain, but nothing could stop the curse's progression. Your Majesty, Marcus said gently, finding me in the library at dawn on the 3rd day. You need to rest. I need to find an answer, I said, not looking up from the crumbling tome before me. The king is asking for you. That made me stop. I looked up to find Marcus's expression grave. How bad? I whispered. He wants to say goodbye. No. I ran through the castle corridors, my heart pounding. Burst into Darius's chambers to find him even paler than before, his breathing shallow, but when he saw me, he smiled. There's my queen. I went to him, taking his hand carefully. It was cold as ice. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You should, he said softly. Alara, you need to leave. Go far from here. The curse? When I die, it might lash out at anyone nearby. I told you, I'm not leaving. Stubborn woman. But there was warmth in his voice. These past few days with you, they've been the happiest of my life. Thank you for that. Don't. My voice broke. Don't say goodbye. Not yet. I have to. He squeezed my hand weakly. I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't mourn me too long. You're young, Alara. You have your whole life ahead of you. Find happiness. Find love. I found love, I interrupted fiercely. 7 years ago. I just didn't get to keep it long enough. He pulled me down gently, and I curled beside him on the bed, my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat grow slower. I love you, he whispered. I should have said it years ago. Should have said it every day. I love you, Alara. My queen. My mate. My heart. I love you too, I sobbed into his chest. Please don't leave me. Please. His hand stroked my hair, the movement growing weaker. I wish we'd had more time. We will. We'll beat this. Sure. His lips pressed to the top of my head. Let me hold you. Just let me hold you. So I did. I lay there as his breathing grew shallower, as his heartbeat slowed, as the man I loved slipped away, and that's when I felt it. A pulse of power, different from the curse. It came from deep within me, from a place I didn't know existed. My wolf surged forward, not with aggression but with desperate, fierce love, the mate bond. I'd read about it in those dusty books, how true mates could share more than just their souls. They could share their very life force. Without thinking, I pressed my hand to Darius's chest, right over his heart. And I pushed. Power flooded out of me, golden and warm. I felt it flow into Darius, fighting against the black veins of the curse. Alara, he gasped. What? Shut up, I gritted out. And let me save you. The battle raged inside him, my life force against the ancient curse. I could feel the curse fighting back, trying to consume not just Darius but me too. Good, I thought viciously. Try to take us both. See what happens, because here's what the curse didn't understand: I wasn't just any mate. I was a daughter of the Blood Moon clan, descended from ancient healers who'd once been able to cure any illness, break any curse. I'd thought that bloodline power was just a legend, a myth from childhood stories, but as I poured more of myself into Darius, I felt that ancient power wake up. My grandmother's voice echoed in my memory: true love is the strongest magic, child. Stronger than any curse, any spell. Love is what breaks the unbreakable. I love you, I whispered, pouring everything I had into those words. Do you hear me, curse? I love him. And you can't have him. The black veins began to recede, slowly at first, then faster. The darkness pulled back from Darius's face, his neck, his chest. He gasped, his back arching as the curse was ripped from his body, and then, with a sound like breaking glass, it shattered. The curse exploded outward in a wave of dark energy. I threw myself over Darius, shielding him. The darkness washed over us, through us, and then was gone. Silenced. I lifted my head, barely daring to breathe. Darius? His eyes opened, clear, bright silver, no longer clouded with pain. Alara? We stared at each other in shock. You're alive, I whispered. You broke it. His voice was filled with wonder. You broke the curse. I broke the curse, I repeated, and then started laughing hysterically. I broke it. I actually broke it. Darius sat up, his movements strong and sure. The black veins were completely gone. His color had returned. He looked healthy. Whole. How? He asked. True love, I said, still grinning like a madwoman. Apparently, it really does conquer all. Who knew? He pulled me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. You magnificent, impossible, stubborn woman. You actually did it. I told you, I said into his shoulder. I wasn't giving up on you. Never doubt me again. I pulled back to look at him sternly. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Yes, my queen. His eyes were shining with unshed tears. Never again. Then he kissed me, not with the desperate urgency of before, but with a reverence that made my toes curl. This was a kiss of promise, of forever, of all the tomorrows we'd almost lost. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. 7 years, he murmured. I have 7 years of making up to do. You have a lifetime, I corrected. And I plan to collect on every single moment. He laughed, actually laughed, rich and warm and full of joy. I love you, Alara Blackthorn. My queen. My mate. My salvation. I love you too, I said. My king. My heart. My stubborn, self-sacrificing idiot. Idiot? You kept this from me for 7 years. You're definitely an idiot. Fair enough. He kissed my nose, my cheeks, my forehead. I promise, no more secrets. No more distance. From now on, we face everything together. Together, I agreed. The door burst open, and Marcus rushed in, followed by a crowd of healers and guards. They all stopped short, staring at Darius in shock. Your Majesty, Marcus breathed. You're cured, Darius said, not taking his eyes off me. Thanks to my remarkable wife. The room erupted in cheers. I stood in the nursery, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and rose. Behind me, I heard familiar footsteps. Strong arms wrapped around my waist, pulling me back against a solid chest. There you are, Darius murmured into my hair. I've been looking everywhere for you. I was just thinking, I said, leaning into his embrace. About how different everything is now. He turned me to face him, his hands coming up to cup my face. Better? So much better. I smiled. Do you know what today is? Tuesday? I laughed. It's our 8th anniversary. His expression softened. 8 years. 7 of distance, 1 of. He trailed off, searching for the word. Everything, I finished. 1 year of everything. And it had been everything. After the curse broke, Darius had spent every moment making up for lost time. He moved me into his chambers that very night and hadn't let me sleep in a separate bed since. He told me he loved me at least 20 times a day. He held my hand during council meetings, kissed me in corridors, pulled me into his lap during state dinners. The court had been scandalized at first. But they'd gotten used to their king being openly, desperately in love with his queen. I have something for you, Darius said, pulling a small box from his pocket. You've already given me everything I could want, I protested. Open it. Inside was a delicate pendant, a wolf and a crown intertwined, rendered in silver and gold. It's beautiful, I breathed. Look at the back. I turned it over. Engraved in elegant script were the words, 7 years of waiting. Forever of loving. Tears pricked my eyes. Darius, I know I wasted so much time, he said quietly. But I promise you, Alara, I will spend the rest of our lives making every moment count. Starting with this one. He sank to one knee, and my heart stopped. Wait, I said. We're already married. This isn't about marriage. He took my hand, his thumb stroking over my knuckles. This is about promises. About choosing you, not out of duty or alliance, but because you're the other half of my soul. He looked up at me with those silver eyes, now always warm when they looked at me. Alara Blackthorn. Love of my life, breaker of curses, queen of my heart, will you choose me? Every day, for the rest of our lives, will you choose me the way I choose you? You dramatic man, I said, laughing through my tears. Yes. Always yes. He stood and kissed me, deep and sweet and full of promise. When we broke apart, he fastened the pendant around my neck. There's one more thing, I said, taking his hand and placing it on my stomach. He froze. Alara? Surprise, I whispered. In about 7 months, you're going to be a father. The joy that flooded his face was brighter than any sunrise. He dropped to his knees again, this time pressing his ear to my still flat stomach. Hello in there, he said softly. I'm your father. And I promise you, little one, you will never doubt that you're loved. Not for a single moment. Not like I made your mother doubt. Darius, every day, he said fiercely, looking up at me with tears streaming down his face. I will tell you both every single day that you're loved. That you're wanted. That you're everything. I sank down beside him, and we held each other in the fading light, overwhelmed by the gift of second chances. 7 years, I murmured. Forever, he corrected, kissing me again, and for the first time in a very long time. Forever didn't seem like a curse. It felt like a promise.